Okay, I have no idea what Shlomi's saying. Shlomi, you're very excited. What are you excited about, Shlomi?
Well, Geller said, "quote unquote," speak if you're a Republican.
I think I would say don't speak. Right, don't speak. Right. Okay. So, okay. Just so everybody knows, like officially, I'm registered as an independent. So it's like I'm not even lying when I say I'm not. I'm very smart about that. Okay. Which means I can't vote in any primaries, but that's not really doesn't seem like to be such an issue ever. Okay. Okay. So let's see here. We want to first do something. Here's the story. We're gonna make an effort. This club that we have, this Israel Political Advocacy Club, right about this time of year, we're usually planning the final stages of our policy conference trip. Because of COVID, so that didn't happen. And there is no policy conference. Not that we're not going, but there is no policy conference. And generally, the whole year is like a build up to that. And then, like now, when APAC canceled their policy conference, I had this fantasy, which I still have, of bringing everybody to Israel. My fantasy was to bring everybody to Israel in March and show the U.S.-Israel relationship from the Israeli side, which nobody gets to do. We only get to see it in from the American side, right? You have a bunch of members of Congress talking about how important the U.S.-Israel relationship is, but then you guys never really get to see it. You have like an Israeli member of Knesset that always shows up to policy conference and talks to us, and you have other Israelis that like some general we find that works at the American embassy and at the Israeli embassy in Washington, and they tell us like how great America is and how great they're, but you never get to really see it. But like how cool would it be if like we went to an Iron Dome thing and saw like an Iron Dome, somebody explained to us how it worked, and we go to the Knesset and speak to different Knesset members from different parties and hear what they think about the U.S. Israel relationship and how good that would be. And then go to different places and see like the places on the ground that we learn about. That was my dream to do that in March. I still have that dream. To do that as soon as we can. It doesn't seem
Where are
like
we supposed to go to the UAE after, like on the way
and
back?
then maybe go to the UAE. I've soured on the idea of going to the UAE only because like all my friends that go there, they're like, it's basically like Disneyland as a country. Like it's a desert that has nothing. It's got nothing, and then they just built like a mall, and they built like it's just like there's nothing like to it. Like so like we'll go and like we'll have fun and like see the UAE and see all my friends in Dubai and like they'll take us around to like the mall and then they'll talk to us about like the importance of the UAE Israel relationship and maybe we'll speak to somebody about like how upset they are they're not getting their jets or how much they hate Joe Biden. They really hate Joe Biden. I mean, my God, these people hate Joe Biden. They hate Joe. Like, I mean, wow. They make some of my Republican friends who still think Trump won the election, and some of my students and friends who were at the Capitol. I can't tell you how many people it turns out that I know that were there. It makes them look like fully registered Democrats who went out and canvassed for Joe Biden. I mean, they really hate Joe Biden. So, and like he has, and his like stopping the sale of the planes, which we can discuss, did not help the situation. They hated him way before he did that. So, so in essence, it's I think now it's move to Israel, UAE, but absolutely love. But in any case, yes, maybe we'll do that. My point is though that that's my dream that we would do, and then like January, February would be lead up to that and getting that done. The Israeli airport is shut down indefinitely. I don't think any plane, except for the ones parked there, stuck there, will ever like. I'm very choppy. I'm choppy. That I was doing on purpose, but okay. I don't know why I'm choppy.
You're fine now.
What?
You're fine now.
Now I'm fine. Okay, great. Okay, so in any case, the what I was saying is that was my dream, and that we would like maybe bring on members of Congress here. But then I was like, we can't bring on members of Congress for like essentially like 5-6 teenagers, like to have. But then Daniel convinced me this week that we should do more stuff because it seems like we're not getting anywhere in terms of these things. I still have the dream of the Israel trip. Look, Israel's almost all vaccinated. It'll be like all vaccinated in like 2 months from now. At the rate they're going, they could be vaccinated next week. It's insane how fast they're going, and they're going faster than the plans are. As the people giving the shots are always moving much faster than the government thinks they're going to move. So as soon as we can make sure that no other like Haredi Gedolim die, so there's no more big funerals, we should vaccinate them first, and then we don't have to worry. Then we'll be able to get this whole thing under control. Once that happens, then we just got to get you poor souls some vaccinations, and then we'll be fine. You know, Hodaya and Rafi, did you guys get vaccinated yet?
Yeah,
No,
I got my first shot last week.
Rafi got his first shot last week. Okay, yeah, just about all my kids got it already, and now they're talking about my 12-year-old son getting it next week, which is like insane that there are like 90-year-olds in America that have no chance of getting it for like 10 years. And like Joe Biden's massive plan of 100 million people within 100 days. If you do the math, that means that he'll finish America in 2 years. Like it sounds like, wow, 100 million people in 100 days. But then if you factor in it's 2 shots for 100 million, it's never going to happen. You know, and then like New York has a snow day and they're like, okay, cancel all vaccinations. We don't need vaccinations. Like, no, it's snowing. That's when you need the vaccinations. So, anyway, if anything, if you go take a time machine and like not in your time machine and go back, every single Jew in America should have moved.
You're a little choppy again.
Wait, you're back up?
No, you're a little choppy again.
I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm choppy.
Now you're good.
Now I'm good. Well, I wasn't talking, but okay. So in any case, I still have a dream of bringing everybody to Israel. Maybe it'll be in the summer, maybe at the end of the summer, you know, maybe the beginning of next year's school year. I don't know. As soon as it's safe, I still have the dream of doing this. I don't want to give up on the dream. I don't want to have done nothing, even if we have to do something and count it for last year if it's next year. I definitely want to do it. And then if it goes well, I want to do it like every year. Why not add that to our thing that we come to Israel every year also? Why not? Who knows? We'll see. But that's something that I would like to I'd like to try. Okay, but this week what we're going to do is we're going to start doing active things. We're going to try to do 2 different things. First, we're going to try the whole action part of this Israel political advocacy. Is the action part is getting in touch with members of Congress or their staff and telling them how valuable the U.S.-Israel relationship is. That's what we really want to do. That's our goal. That's what we want. So this is mostly South Florida, although Aviv is here for the year. Shayla lives in Florida and Rebecca lives in Florida and Shlomi lives in Florida, and the rest of us are just staff. And Abigail is from Florida, technically. I don't know, Hadaya, where are they registered to vote?
In America? My mom, New York, dad, New Jersey, yeah.
Okay, so you might actually count for something. And Rafi, you're from you're registered in New York, right?
District.
Okay, so you don't count. So in essence, the goal is to push forth. So we're going to start. APAC has a national teen council. I don't know if any of you joined. I wouldn't suggest it, but they have a national teen council, and they decided they have a big event tomorrow night. If anyone wants to go to it, it's on Zoom. It's the launch of their letter writing campaign. We're going to do it a little early. We're going to surprise them, and we're going to figure out how to write letters beforehand. So what we're going to do is for the next 10 minutes, okay, I'm going to the link is I'm going to put it in the WhatsApp. And I'm going to put it in the chat right here. And for the next 10 minutes, we're all going to write letters to our members of Congress. If you don't, and all the information is there. Shlomi, I didn't see you wrote. If you could DM me for the YUPAC info. What's YUPAC?
I can talk about it for a second.
I believe that's the PAC.
I know what YUPAC is, but why are we doing YUPAC?
There's a program tomorrow.
Because
Shlomi, do you want to talk about it? Because I can talk about it from the YU side, actually.
Let's do that after. Let's not get confused. Okay. Here's Here's what's it called. Okay, here is the link. It's in the chat and it's in the WhatsApp. Everybody, let's take 10 minutes right now to follow the directions and do this. Okay, it take 10 minutes to do that. If you have any questions while you're doing it, let me know. I'm actually going to create a room for Zahava to tell me about this thing, a breakout room. So if you have a question, then send me a send me a WhatsApp message if you're having trouble with this thing. It's pretty self-explanatory. I say that because I explained it and I'm myself. So I wrote the letter. Okay, hold on.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Yeah.
First of all, how are you, Rabbi? Are you doing good?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it says that I'm not a high school student anymore. So what should I put?
Just it's fine. Just part of the group. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Am I writing that too, or
What?
am I supposed? What am I writing that too? Because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
okay.
Wait, okay, hold on. Now I put 2 people in the room. Move to, okay, I'm putting in room 2. Move to, room 2. I used to be able to do this.
They recently updated Zoom and it's a lot cooler, but also a lot more complicated.
Okay, fine. I'm going to make Geller co-host. Geller, can you create a room for me and Zahava and you? And then send us to another room. Kids don't misbehave.
I don't have a breakout room making ability.
Okay, I'm making you host.
Oh, that'll do it. Okay.
Should we write Ted Deutsch or Theodore Deutsch?
Ted Deutsch. Well, I know why you write. You just write Congressman Deutsch.
Oh,
You don't want to call him by his first name. I don't even call him by his first name. Okay. Where's Geller now?
I don't know if he knew he was invited.
Hold on. Get Geller in here. Oh, here he is. Okay, fine.
Oh, here he is. Okay.
Okay, I was like, "Where's Geller?"
Well, this
So I
worked
texted
out.
him, "Get in here." Oh, what's the story with this? Why? Oh wait, hold on. Okay, what's it recording? Is it recording us now? Okay, let's get to. Okay, so that was very good. That was very exciting. Okay, what I plan on doing for maybe a week or 2 from now, I'm gonna try to arrange for like half our session together, a staff member. As soon as I have the staff member scheduled, then we'll do a training session of what we're gonna say. It's not gonna be this. I'm not getting a speaker. I shouldn't have said a speaker. I'm not gonna have a staff member from a member of Congress office come on and talk to us. We don't need that. I want you guys to do the talking. I want you guys to lobby. So what we're gonna do is we're all gonna plan out. Like for those of you that have gone lobbying with me, you know how it works, right? And if those of you don't, you're about to learn, right? Everybody gets they pick one thing that they're gonna talk about. One person picks Iran, one person talks Palestinians, one person talks about the financial aid to Israel. And I say it's very important to me. You speak for about 45 seconds, 60 seconds. The whole thing all together takes 10 minutes. You see, one person speaks, they make their points, then the person that's speaking to responds. So, oh, of course, it's very important to us. We're going to do that. Of course, that's so important. And then say, oh, Iran is a complicated and complex issue. A member of Congress has been on the side of Israel all the way through. We don't want Iran to get nuclear weapons. Great. Okay, good. Very polite talk. Very nice. You'll see the staff member is going to write up notes. They're going to hand that to the member of Congress. We've met with a group of students from Florida. Very nice. And that's what we're going to do. Okay, that's how it works. So we're going to arrange that. That's going to be the next big move for us as we get closer and closer to our Israel trip. Yeah. My dream, by the way, for the Israel trip, there's a lot of ethics rules that would make this completely illegal. But if I can figure out how to do it legally, my dream is to bring a member of Congress to spend part of the trip with us. like maybe like a Shabbat. If we bring like a Jewish sort of religious minded, I don't think there's any Orthodox members of Congress now that would like really appreciate Shabbat as Shabbat, but there are a lot of them that really love like the concept of Shabbat. And I would love to bring them, like just fly them to Israel for Shabbat. It's a big problem, like flying members of Congress places, because that's how they go to jail. But if they take money from places my real dream would be for the member of Congress to cover it out of their own pocket. That would be great. But the chances of that happening are very small. But these are my dreams. So hopefully one day we'll do that. Okay, who's got questions? Let's go. We've got about 10 minutes left. Who's got questions? Shayla, you never ask any questions. Let's hear some questions. Let's go. Nothing troubles you. You got no questions from the news?
You know B'Tselem, can you talk about that and like why? Because they're Israeli.
Where did you hear about it? That's very impressive, by the way, for a first question. That's really impressive.
It's on the news a lot.
It definitely is. I'm saying most people don't see it though. Okay. B'Tselem is an Israeli NGO. NGOs are non-government organizations. Okay, so there are about 500 of them that operate in Israel that are critical of Israel. You might want to say anti-Israel. Okay, but they're definitely critical of Israel's current policies. There are one that's pro-Israel. Okay, so that's a place called Regavim. Everything else, every other NGO is anti-Israel. B'Tselem is like the head of them all. Okay. And B'Tselem was created to capture on film and report Israeli human rights abuses against Palestinians. Okay, that's essentially what they are. They're a pro-peace organization, but they're essentially created to do that. And B'Tselem, if I'm getting it correct, I'm pretty sure I have it right. B'Tselem recently released a report that said that Israel is an apartheid state. Until that point, they had never said that. They never said that Israel's discrimination against the Palestinians had reached a level that equals that of South Africa when they discriminated against the blacks in the 1980s. Okay, they had yet to. So they released that report, and it caused a huge brouhaha everywhere but in Israel. The reason why no one cared in Israel, right? Rafi, did you even hear about this? Hodaya, did you guys hear about this? Everything's frozen. No. Okay, so just give me the response again because I froze for a minute. I'm freezing a lot. Okay, no. Okay, so in Israel, it barely made the headlines in Israel for two reasons. Okay, reason one, am I freezing a lot? You guys are freezing a lot. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Am I freezing? I'm good. I am freezing. I don't know. Okay, Geller's giving me a thumbs up as if I'm never freezing. Fine. Anyway, I was going to keep talking. So B'Tselem, no one paid attention to B'Tselem for two reasons. Number one, the report came out in English. They didn't even bother making a Hebrew copy. Okay, so your average Israeli who's going to read this thing is not going to care. Okay, because it's in English, and we'll explain why they put it out in English. And the second reason is because the anti-Israel, left-wing, pro-peace organizations that were really big in the 1990s have died out because in the Second Intifada, when 1,000 Israelis were killed by Palestinians, in response to Ehud Barak's "I'll give you everything, just make peace with us" offer at Camp David. So then Israelis just said, forget this. We don't have a partner for peace. The Palestinians aren't really interested. So we don't really care anymore. Like we're just going to keep going, doing what we're doing. We don't care what goes on over the Green Line. Either we're like full-fledged settlers and believe in this, or we don't care what happens over there. Like we just don't care. There's clearly no partner for peace. So B'Tselem kept going. So what happens is that these NGOs are essentially they're pointless. Like no, they're ignored. They have no mission. No one's paying any attention to them. So how do you stay relevant now? You're an NGO. You have an office full of people. You got to fundraise. So you got to do something to grab everybody's attention. So what do? So you say, we'll call Israel apartheid. Then everyone will be like, whoa, that's crazy. Call apartheid. So it makes like the New York Times and it makes the American news because it's, like you said, it's an Israeli organization, right? So how can an Israeli organization say that? So that's how they stay relevant, especially to their donor base. That's how they bring in money. The reason why they release it in English is because they know no one in Israel is paying attention. And they know their only audience are Americans who agree that Israel's a bad place, right? And it could be American Jews, but they agree that Israel's a bad place. So that's why they release it that way. but it made the news. Even in America, it made the news only for 2 or 3 days, and only in corners of people that were paying attention to this anyway and felt this way anyway. So they don't convince anybody. They don't do anything. So that's the idea of B'Tselem. All these organizations, B'Tselem, what are some of the other ones that are like this? Mahsom Watch. I'm trying to think. There's like 500 of them, literally. So I'm trying to come up with more of them. But there's all these organizations that are out there, and they've made no headway in the last 15, 20 years in Israel. If you look at the Israeli elections, right? So like the Labor Party had their primaries today. Like basically no one cares. They're gonna get 4 or 5 maybe at most 4 or 5 like seats in the Knesset, right? This is Yitzhak Rabin's party, the party that led the charge on Oslo. They're done. There's no more Israeli pro-peace left, right? That's why the whole left, like this whole like movement now, is just an anti-Bibi movement. They're just trying to get Bibi out, and they don't even realize that whoever's coming in next is like right now. Everyone's like Gideon Sa'ar. Gideon Sa'ar is going to save us. Gideon Sa'ar is like this much more right wing than Bibi. I know Gideon Sa'ar personally. Okay, he's their worst nightmare. Like maybe Smotrich and Naftali Bennett are a little more scary to them, but they don't have a chance. Gideon Sa'ar has a chance of becoming prime minister. I don't know if it's a great chance, but he has a chance of becoming prime minister. He's more right wing, so you're not going to really, So that's the story out here. That's a really good question, Shayla. I'm very impressed. Okay, who's got another question? So you can beat Shayla's impressive question.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
It's not really having to do with APAC. It's more about like Israel. But do you think Israel is the guinea pig of the vaccine because everyone's getting like they're the biggest like per like capita?
It's not like the guinea pig. That's how Bibi Netanyahu was able to convince Pfizer. Isn't it crazy that New York State can't get enough vaccines, and we have people today. Some of my friends told me today in Israel in Mea Shearim, okay, in Mea Shearim when there's a funeral, so they don't have WhatsApp, they don't have internet. How do they tell? And in Israel, you bury somebody that day. They die in the morning. You're going to bury them before at nighttime. The halacha is in Israel, you don't leave a body overnight. There's certain times you do. Okay. So how are you going to tell people? So they have this wonderful invention in Israel. This would never fly in America. Okay. You buy a stereo speaker. Okay. And you tape it to your roof. Okay. Or like a cab's roof. And then you have a guy and you attach the speaker to a megaphone. And then you scream outside of your window. Their funeral for Moshe Pipik is going to be at 3:00 at Har Menuchos, okay? And they drive around the neighborhood announcing the funeral. That's how it's done, okay? So today, I don't remember what neighborhood it is in Yerushalayim.
That happens on Shtisel.
What?
That happens on Shtisel.
Happens, right? Okay, so right. So they didn't create it on Shtisel. It's real life, okay? So they went around today. We have vaccines. That there's extra vaccines. Please, everybody run to this place where there's extra vaccines, okay? That's how many extra vaccines we have. We need to send people out with these crazy contraptions on their roof to announce that there's vaccines, right? So that's how they do it, okay? We have so many vaccines. How do we have so many? And Governor Cuomo can't figure out how to get like a couple more vaccines for New York City. New York City's out of vaccines. They're out of vaccines. How does that happen, right? So the reason is because Bibi Netanyahu called the head of Pfizer and said, listen, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could test the vaccine in an enclosed area that's not exposed to call them 17 times, right? So that's not exposed to any other areas. Like people aren't driving to other, and it was like one state of America. Imagine you have one state of America. And then there's like, oh, we have that. It's called Israel. Give us all the vaccines. You'll test it. You'll know. We'll get this done in no time. Within a couple of months, you'll know. New strains. How do you know if it works against new strains? What's happening in Israel? New strains in Israel. No one's dying from it. Great. The vaccine works, right? So it's not that we're like the guinea pig. We are the guinea pigs on the vaccine, right? That's also, by the way, why the only, like, I don't know if this is like true, but I mean, the facts are true. I don't know if my analysis is about to be true, but we only use the Pfizer vaccine here. Fact, okay? Today, we handed the Palestinians 5,000 vaccines. I don't know why we decided to do that. They gave them the Moderna vaccine. So I have a suspicion Moderna sent us vaccines, and we're like, there you go. You know, like we're not testing this out because we don't know if this is going to work the same way, you know? And like we're a Pfizer lab, right? Everybody in Israel, by the way, wears Pfizer's t-shirts all day long. I'm joking. That's not true. But right. So that's the thing. So we're handing, that would have been great if we had swag, you know, but we, so that's the idea. Okay. Jamal Promise. Yeah. So in any case, so that's what we do, right? We have the Pfizer vaccine, and we are the guinea pigs, and it's working. It's working like crazy. It's crazy working, and thank God we're happy to be the guinea pig. And we have 5G now in all of us.
Yeah, no, I might have read somewhere that it might have been 2,000 that they sent to the Palestinians of Moderna.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they. Yeah.
I heard
So,
Moderna is better. Their vaccine is
I don't know what better means. So
it's more.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. So that's today. That's this week's class. Good job on the letter writing. I'm gonna I'll write a letter to APEC that we wrote the first ones, and we are amazing, and we're the best. Okay. So our group is always the best, and it's
Wait,
amazing.
aren't they gonna
Only
be
5 of us wrote letters. What? Yes, Rebecca.
like, isn't like Ted Deutsch or whatever gonna be confused like when he gets like the same exact wording, like the letters that are worded the same exact way?
Well, first of all, Ted Deutsch will never know. That's number one. But his staff members are used to mass letters. Mass letters, people think that mass letters don't look like they're genuine, but it doesn't matter because then they're saying, okay, there's a concerted effort of people who agree with this issue, right? It doesn't look like, oh, everybody just filled out a thing, right? It doesn't matter how much effort you put in because they're not measuring effort. They're measuring how many people like took time to contact our office. You know, that's the idea. Okay, so yeah, so it doesn't make a difference. It makes sense to think like if you were writing as a class and you want your teacher to move the test date, so you'd want to have 25 individually unique letters being written, right? But if your teacher was just trying to figure out like, should we go on a trip on Tuesday or Wednesday, and they got like mass letters about Tuesday and mass letters about Wednesday, so then that wouldn't matter to the teacher, right? Teacher would just be counting up the letters. That's what they're doing. They're counting up the letters, which is why a mass letter isn't bad. Okay. Everyone's frozen, so I'm just ending. See you guys. What? No?